Hey, I've been getting a lot of interest with my protein and fiber bars lately, and I wanted to go through what that process looks like, and in that video we'll do that. So before we get started, I'm just going to make sure you have the right tools before we get underway. And so make sure that we're going to put everything in a bread pan. You're going to need a stainless steel bowl and a stainless steel pot for the stove. If you also need to have some access to some water, otherwise you can just use a sink. Did that for video purposes. We're gonna need oatmeal, raisins, peanut butter, protein powder, flaxseed, chia seeds, honey, and chocolate chips. Other tools you'll need is a scale, some spatulas, and a blender. I like a small blender. It's what I have. It's what I've been using. So a blender of sorts. If you have access to tray-like things, just to measure some stuff out, it makes it a little easier. And lastly, you'll need a cutting board. We'll get to that at the end. And so these are super easy to throw together, and we're gonna do that right now. And so the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is get the stove ready. What we're gonna do is put some water, about a cup and a half, depending how big your pot is, 2 cups, into the pot, put it on medium, let the water warm up a little bit. While that's going on, we're gonna get some of the stuff that we have to break down first, and that would be the peanut butter. And so what we're gonna kind of do is, I don't wanna use the word cook the peanut butter. And so in my stainless steel pot, I'm gonna zero that out. I'm gonna put 384 grams of peanut butter, also known as a cup and a half. So it kind of depends on if you like to, I like to weigh my peanut butter, just because if you've ever used a cup to measure peanut butter, you never get all of it. Alrighty, so here we go. So 384 into the pot. Yep, getting close. So all this 384 is gonna make what I call one batch. Oh, too much. Gotta put some back. 384. 384. Almost there. And. Gotta be perfect. 384. Cool. Alrighty. So I'm gonna kind of just leave that in there. Another thing that I often put in here first, next is the honey. And so I'm gonna zero it out again. I'm gonna put 21 grams or 1 tablespoon of honey in. So again, using the scale is really nice. Push the button, zero it out, just wait till the numbers hit 21, well, for honey at least. Go slow when you do the honey. When you get towards the higher numbers here, that strain is gonna keep coming out. And you're not gonna be able to stop it unless you put your hand underneath it. Oh, there we go, 21. All right, and then lastly would be the chocolate chips. And so the water is still warming up in here. It's just getting a little warm. You don't have to put your fingers in it, probably shouldn't. And then you just basically put this pot into that water, okay? Yep. Okay, there you go. And so as this starts to break down from the heat, you can kind of tell if you need more water or less water around it. I probably need a little bit more. So that'd be 2 cups of water for me. And so we kind of just wait, have it on heat. It's gonna start to boil a little bit. As that starts to break down, what we're gonna do is then add the chocolate chips. And so I'm gonna kind of get my other ingredients ready. So when that's all done, we're gonna turn it over. And so I'm gonna get my chocolate chips ready next. And the chocolate chips, I put in a total of 14 grams. Chocolate chips, otherwise known as 1 tablespoon. Zero that out. And these go pretty quick. So you're probably gonna see like, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yep. Good thing I cleaned the counters beforehand. Isn't cooking fun? Okay, there we go. 14 grams. Alrighty, so I don't add those initially just because they don't break down as well in the pot. So as soon as this starts to all break down a little bit more from the heat, then I add the chocolate chips. The next thing I'm gonna get together, I would measure out my chia seeds. So I normally do 4 tablespoons of chia seeds. So that comes out to be, I believe, 60 grams worth. And then 4 tablespoons, which is 2 servings as well for the chia seeds, and 4 grams of flaxseed, 4 tablespoons of flaxseed, which comes out to believe, whatever 4 is. I think it's 26. Yeah, 26 grams. Okay, cool. So moving on, still trying to get all of our stuff ready to be used. And so I use oatmeal in mine, and so what I'm going to do here is break down my oatmeal, and so I'm going to weigh it out first. And I use 80 grams, which is 1 cup or 2 servings of oatmeal. So 80 grams on the scale. Here we go. Let's not knock this one over. 80 grams. Okay, too much. Man, guess I'm normally not like this. Getting watched while cooking. Mixing. Okay. And you don't have to be this perfect. Okay, cool. All right, 80 grams. So you could leave oatmeal just like this, but I like to break it down. In my opinion, it helps hold the bars together a lot better. And I kind of break it down into fibers. So, you know, put your lid on and let this is gonna be loud. Ready? 3, 2. As you can kind of notice, they're not all breaking up, and this isn't the most OSHA approved probably thing, so just be careful. All right, cool. As you can kind of tell, it mixes your oatmeal up into a nice little flour. And you can use that idea for other recipes as well. I do quite a bit. Alrighty, so the flour's done, chia seeds are done, flax seeds are done. And then another thing we add is whey protein powder, and it comes with a scoop, and I just put a scoop in. I don't really weigh it out. I could, but the scoop is nice. Okay, now that our mixture is just about done here, not done, but it's starting to heat up, we're gonna add our chocolate chips. And again, it's just gonna kind of go on top. Not allowing it to burn or anything. All right, this is cooking in the making. This next part is probably, I would say, one of the harder parts of this entire process, and that would be trying to mix it while not burning yourself with the stove. And so you can use like a paper towel. If you don't want to get like your rags and such dirty. I've done paper towels, I've done rags. I still have yet to what is best. It's kind of up to how you're feeling that day. And what you're gonna do, water's getting kind of hot here, you're gonna kind of turn it down just so you have something to work with. So you're still keeping the water warm, the outside of the bowl is staying warm, but it's not like shooting up steam in your face. And so as it kind of mixes together, you're gonna pinch kind of the edge of the bowl, all right? And so you got a firm hold on it, and we're just gonna kind of mix it together. And you'll start to see the chocolate chips start to break down, and that chocolate darker color start to mix well with everything else. And don't go too fast when you mix or stir. Rock on. Alrighty. So as that starts to melt, we got one more thing to cook in the blender. cook. We have one more thing to mix in the blender, and that would be our raisins. And so I do 1 serving of raisins, which is 40 grams. I've also used like prunes. Prunes are definitely a good thing. If you're like, ew, prunes. Honestly, you don't even taste these in the recipe. And so just 40 grams. Yep. There we go. Cool. And I also put these in the blender. It's important you do the oatmeal first, otherwise you're gonna have to wash this to do the raisins. And so I don't care getting stuff that has the powder from the oatmeal. So it goes in here, and it's gonna come out kind of like a goo, like what you would find in like a fig Newton. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. Sometimes they need a little bit of some shaking. Just make sure you know what your machine sounds like when something's going wrong and when it's not. So it comes out with like this goo, which is really, like I said, inside like a fig Newton. And what you're gonna use is that spatula that's sitting over here, and you're gonna use that right now because it's one of your almost wet materials. It's not really dry, it's kind of a moist. There we go. Put that in there. Again, it's pretty low on the stove. If your steam's coming up super hot, if you don't have any water in your pot, I would put some in. Otherwise, it's gonna become a fire hazard. And so, got to keep an eye on that as well, especially if you're taking a while during these steps. Where did my mitt go? There it is. My mitt. Again, you can use an oven mitt, but you're gonna have to wash it every single time you make these, and so everybody's their own person. Okay, so again, we're pretty good on time-wise. These don't take too long. Okay, pulling out a spoon to get it off the spatula. Things happen. Just make sure. Well, I just try to save as much as I can. There we go. Come on. Yep. Okay, rock on. And again, we're just gonna kind of let it sit in there. It's gonna cook. Those raisins will start to break down. So you notice I had 2 spatulas. Yeah, there's a reason for that. So make sure I find spatulas work the best for this next upcoming process. It's up to you. And that is the mixing part after you add all the dry goods. And when the dry stuff goes in, that liquidy substance starts to get a little harder, and so trying to hang on to something that's floating on the stove, yeah, it's fun. Okay, we're getting there. If you haven't learned, if you're doing this for the first time without watching this, and you're using a non-stick pot, I hope you're being gentle on it. If there's husbands watching this, or boyfriends, or anybody that knows somebody likes to cook, I would not use a non-stick pot, because with the stainless steel, it's going to start to scratch up the bottom, and that's no bueno. No good. All right, so it's kind of sitting in here, turning into a liquid, kind of stirring every once in a while. Don't want to ignore it. I would be concerned of the raisins sticking to the side and then possibly getting a little burnt. So just give it a nice stir every once in a while. And as soon as you feel comfortable that is all mixed together, yeah, as you can see, my oven mitt is starting to lose out on me as I stir. Okay, so as this is all starting to be together, the last things that we do is add the dry goods. And so that would be the oatmeal, the chia seeds, flax seed, and the protein powder. And so like I said, it's gonna get rough, but fun. If you're not having fun, what's the point of doing it? Okay. And we're there. Cool. So I would really suggest adding one thing at a time and mixing it, and then add another thing and then mix it. It just keeps it a bit cleaner. So I'm gonna go with my chia seeds first. Put those in. Get my oven mitt. Okay, cool. And pinch it to the side. And again, we're just gonna give it a nice stir. Again, that spatula is gonna kind of help get it off the sides of the pot. All right, cool. That's one. All right, flaxseed, number 2. And as you add these, you'll start to see it get thicker and thicker. Again, I like to pinch the edge of the pot, just like so, as I mix my bars. So I'm kind of holding against the lid, off to the side, not really over the heat. I'm holding paper over fire, so again, trying to be as safe as possible. All right, nice and mixed up. Oatmeal going in. All right, mixing it up, nice and slow. There's not a lot of room to work in here, so don't be afraid to kind of take your time. You know, still keeping that heat on the stove, not too hot. If you're taking a while on these steps, make sure that there's water in the pot still and it's not evaporating away. There we go. Okay. Last one, and that's protein powder. You can use any protein powder you want. I'm a sucker for the traditional gold standard whey protein. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, just 1 scoop. All right, get my handy dandy mint out here and give it one last stir. As we can see, you get some overboard. So they kind of stick together a little bit. It's almost like a cookie dough kind of material. You'll probably be like, man, this is just like those protein balls you see everywhere. Yeah, this is kind of the same thing in protein balls, a little bit differently, but you're mixing it just a little bit different. And they stay together and it tastes better and more fiber. Because you cook them a little bit more. They're not a no-bake, they're a stovetop. Okay, so let me see if I can get some. Alrighty, so it's gonna look like this kind of, maybe the camera will adjust. Okay, maybe not. Alrighty, so it's done basically right now. And so what that means is that I'm gonna take it out, which is, be careful. I kind of just lift one side of the pot, let it dry, move it off to the side. Very nice. Look at that. Turn the stove off. If that was hard to mix, then you use 2 spatulas to help mix them together. All right, we're still looking good on time. And the last thing that we do before we stick them in the fridge is put them in this bread pan. Again, if you make a larger batch, I'll show you that at the end about what else you should use to put them in. And so all you do is kind of plop them in, still using your handy dandy muffin or oven mitt. Okay. And I can bring it right here. Can you see? Cool. We're there. All right. So we're going to kind of just scoop it out the outside. Yep. A nice little ball deal, and then just roll it right in the middle. Cool. Aim for the middle. Okay. Now we're done with that. So what we're going to do now is just basically push her down in the pan. All right. Trying to level her as much as level the mixture as much as you can, as evenly as you can. And then I also kind of like to turn the spatula upside down and kind of just get the edges, like if you're almost making a meatloaf with a bread pan here. All right, cool. They don't have to be perfect. They'll harden in the fridge. You'll get a little bit better at, remember these are supposed to be quick and easy. So the longer you take on them, the less likely you'll have to do them next time. Okay, very nice. I would say this is for my licking afterwards, and then the rest is for the fridge. All right, so I'm gonna put these in the fridge for now, and I made some earlier, and I'm gonna take those out, okay? Alrighty, so yeah, I'd rather show you what they look like. I made a triple batch the other day, and I had to use a big cookie sheet like this. They turn out really nice. You can take them, they go so fast in my house that literally made these on Sunday. It is now Thursday, and there's just me and my wife here. And so they are good. You can take them out, pre-package them, or you can just literally cut them one at a time. This is a recipe I make literally 1 or 2 times a week because they are that awesome. And so I hope you enjoyed my little video. I hope that you keep safe, and that is how you make my protein and fiber bars. Make my bars. Alrighty, hold up. So I hope that you didn't leave by now. And I told you that this cutting board was used for a purpose. And so in the meantime, this has been in the freezer for about 15-20 minutes. In that time, I've done all of the dishes. And so I spent my time wisely and just kind of literally waiting until these are done. And so this is a really important step. Like I just saw, I use that big cookie sheet when I make a triple batch, just because I need that surface area. But when I make smaller stuff, I use a bread pan. It's convenient using that bread pan because it's smaller, but it's inconvenient to get it out. If you're using this bread pan and making a small batch for yourself, this is how you would get it out. All right, so you're gonna take a spatula, you're just gonna kind of get it around the edge. A lot of this is gonna mimic how you would probably take out a meatloaf. And so if you've ever made out a meatloaf before, or if you haven't, and you're learning for the first time, that's okay. All right, so again, we're gonna kind of take it around the edge, just kind of loosen her up a little bit. And so, kind of bend it towards the middle, literally bend it, towards the middle, just to try to get it moving a little bit. So you'll see it start getting pushed around, almost compacting it a little bit more. Okay, moment of truth. So this is the fun part. Not that this isn't all fun, but this is the flop. And so make sure you do it with confidence. Hopefully if it comes out right, it will stay together. Ready, set? Ta-da. See, there you go. So you can cut that into squares, rectangles, shapes, whatever you want to do, and that's how I make my protein and fiber bars. Okay.